Do I still believe that PancakeSwap's native token called Cake could hypothetically reach the price of $50 during this bull run? Well, even though nothing I say is financial advice, in theory, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever, and here are the reasons why. First of all, I think that PancakeSwap is a very amazing project. I mean, we have to think about this, right? PancakeSwap is a BNB chain-based decentralized exchange. Now, we have to think about how as well, right? When it comes to BNB, very massive. When it comes to Binance, arguably the number one exchange of all time. So in my opinion, when it comes to PancakeSwap, I don't think it's going to be forgotten about during a fully fledged bull run, at least in my opinion. Not to mention as well, we have to take a look at the direction in which BNB is heading. If many people do believe, right, that, BNB could do very well during a fully fledged bull run, if they believe in the BNB chain and whatnot, I think it would only be fair for me to assume that, if let's say I believe in those, predictions, I would in theory also do believe in something like PancakeSwap because, again, if I believe in that ecosystem, so to speak, why would I not arguably believe in pretty much its, I would say in terms of like the community and whatnot, the most known about decentralized exchange? In that case, right, again, PancakeSwap, this is the way to take a look at it. So I don't think it's bad. And think about this, right? A decentralized exchange by nature is going to be focused on the decentralized finance market and the DeFi market, aka again, decentralized finance, that could be massive moving forward. Like for instance, according to Granby Research, the decentralized finance market is expected to exceed $200 billion by 2030. That's a very massive amount. I mean, it's not going to be the biggest market of all time, in my opinion, but it's still pretty decent. Not to mention as well, that figure is bigger than some countries' GDP. So I think that's very fantastic. And again, some people like to say, oh, PancakeSwap is not doing the best and all this type of stuff. Again, when it comes to the hype and attention, of course, it felt like, 2021 was a lot better than as of right now. But it doesn't mean that things would look, the way it is as of right now, especially during a fully fledged type of altcoin season. Because yes, we've seen Bitcoin do very well. So I get it. When it comes to some people who are just only holding, Bitcoin, and many of them who are in profit, who I know, right? A lot of them, they're commenting on me because they're saying, oh man, you only hold altcoins and all this type of stuff. Take a look at, Bitcoin is doing so well. I'm totally aware of that because again, right? When it comes to that, of course, but let's see in the next 6 to 10 months, who would, let's say, hypothetically do better when it comes to this starting point where we are as of right now, again, in the next 6 to 10 months. Because just think about this. Cake, right? Again, the native token of PancakeSwap, going to the price of $50 is running 18x from here. Again, that's not the best upside of all time. But Bitcoin's not doing over a 10x, during this bull run. In my opinion, let's just face it, hypothetically, I just don't think it could do that. The price as of right now is above $100,000. That's good. But if I forward all into Bitcoin right now, what could it really do? Maybe as a best case scenario, $300,000. That's under a 3x from here. That's not good enough for me. And I mean, that's kind of boring actually. I'm not in here for like a 3x. Who cares? This is just my perspective. So in the grand scheme of things, yes, PancakeSwap isn't like the most interesting project of all time. Cake isn't a meme coin and whatnot. I'm totally aware of that. In my opinion, sometimes, yes, there's a time for meme coins and whatnot, but also I want to have something like Cake as a part of my portfolio. It has to be one of my foundational pieces because the way you take a look at it is that, I can have fun with meme coins and whatnot, but I also want to have projects that are more stable. Again, something like PancakeSwap, a very reputable decentralized exchange. It's been around for a very long time. It's proven itself. It showcased that, the community is good. The exchange listings when it comes to Cake is fantastic. Not to mention, it's not a project that disappears after a bull run. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like PancakeSwap is going to be around for a very long time. So it's a very well-established project. It's proven itself. And it's a no-brainer for me. Now, I'm going to head back to the, $50 aspect when it comes to Cake because, again, just like I mentioned before, it is around 18x from here. But we have to take a look at the market cap, which, considering current circulating supply at that point, would actually be around $16 billion. Now, let me explain why, even though this may seem like a big amount, I don't think it's actually that massive in the grand scheme of things. Because if I take a look back in 2021, it was a very amazing time, for a lot of DeFi projects, right? But we have to think about this. During the peak of the 2021 bull run, there was only around 300 million crypto owners. Now we have over 600 million according to Crypto.com research. So I think that as of right now, actually, if let's say we see a fully fledged type of altcoin season, it could look a lot better than back then. But even besides that, in 2021, we saw Uniswap, right, which many people consider as their go-to decentralized exchange. But even besides that, again, its native token called Uni exceeded $20 billion in market cap. And again, that's back then, right, with factors that are, I think, a lot less bullish than as of right now. So with the factors that are more bullish, let's say this time around, in theory, I think Uni could maybe do a lot better. Like many people out there are saying that, oh, that you know what, Uni could maybe go to like a $40-50 billion market cap. Many people are saying this, right? At least that I know. I'm not saying it's going to be true or anything, but I'm just saying, if let's say back in 2021, Uni was able to exceed $20 billion in market cap, and this time around, many people are saying, oh, it could go to like, 40 to 60 billion, right? Are we saying that, again, this time around, Cake can't achieve a glimpse of what Uni achieved back in 2021 and just kind of like a fraction of what it could achieve maybe this time around, again, at a market cap of around 16 billion? I don't see why that is too much to ask for, really, in the grand scheme of things. Again, Cake would have that market cap considering current circulating supply if it were to go to the price of $50. How is that like a tough task for me? I just don't know why that would be too difficult to kind of imagine. But again, even besides that point, I don't think this is too much to ask for in my opinion, but it's just a waiting game. Now, how long? It's difficult to predict exactly the time frame, but you know what? I can take a look at some clues, right? It doesn't mean I'm going to be correct when it comes to this, and it doesn't mean that this prediction is going to be correct, but let me just explain a historical example. And again, let me just explain, because usually as a worst case scenario, altcoins, they typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. Now, the last Bitcoin halving event happened in April of last year. So 18 months from then is actually around October this year. Again, this is no guarantee because it's just based off history. And there's no telling if it's going to be the same thing this time around. But with the way, like, the space is recovering, the way Bitcoin is heading, the way altcoins are, again, beginning to have a pretty okay recovery, that timeline, or that time frame, I should say, doesn't seem too ridiculous. It doesn't seem too, like, nonsense type of vibe, right? So I don't see why not. But again, whether or not altcoins peak as a worst case scenario in October, whether or not it peaks in like January of next year, whatever the time frame is, I can only control myself, because that's going to happen when it wants to happen. I can't control that, right? What can I control? Myself, again. And that is just dollar cost average, accumulating, holding, and just waiting. That's it. Beyond that, I can't control anything. I can't wave some magic wand and demand the price of Cake to pump. I can't do that. Not to mention as well, some people out there like to ask me, oh, why don't you pull up a price chart and draw some random triangles? What is that going to do? Do you think that the market is going to pay attention to what I have to draw? Let's say I draw a falling wedge pattern or whatever. The market doesn't care, So instead of drawing some random lines or some random triangles on a price chart, I would rather just focus on, again, the fundamentals, historical data. I would rather focus on what the project is about. I'd rather focus on stuff like that. I think it's more logical to me, at least. But even besides all that, $50 when it comes to Cake wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's only the captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.